Hello and welcome. Today we are talking about Microsoft Outlook, the desktop version. So in this example, I'm going to take you through how to use Outlook, just the basics of it, how to get around, how to send emails, how to look at the views, how to do some of those things like the signatures, changing fonts, and setting up Teams meetings in your calendar, the basic stuff that you need to know to really get to grips with Outlook from a starting perspective. Let's jump in and just start Outlook here from the Start menu. You can see we jump straight into what we see as an inbox. Not now for that. And we get to see the standard screen here. Now what you will notice is that this particular display is obviously a larger format. We can see a lot more emails. But if you do drag it across to the left-hand side here, you can see as we condense it, it becomes this. This might be a view that you prefer rather than the wider one. Most people, I feel, tend to use this. It is a little bit more old school about how we used to use it, but obviously you can just drag left and right to suit that. You can also drag these other columns too if you want to make these ones a little bit larger or smaller, then you can do so like so. And obviously that affects the pane on the right-hand side here. Now, bit of a look on here. You can see we've got mails that the bold ones are obviously the unread mails. And these ones we've obviously seen, but we can look at just unread mail. You can see the counter here, 344. It shows us we've got 382 mails in the mailbox, in the inbox, and we can see 344 unread. That's our unread counter. If we click on unread here, it will just show us those unread items. Now, we can quite easily just go through and see those. If you were to select a few of them like so, you can actually just press Control Q, and it'll actually put them as read emails, which is why they disappear from this view immediately. But you can see you can do that quickly on that screen as well. If we just grab these, decide, yep, we've read all those, we're happy, we just Control Q. It's a nice way of cleaning up your inbox very quickly. So let's go have a look at this mail here, because what you'll notice is when we started clicking on some of these, some of them have got pictures in, and it won't download the pictures automatically unless we tell it to. So we can do that here on this bar. We just hit here, we can say download pictures. We can change the automatic settings if you want to, so it does it automatically if you need to. But we just say download pictures, and you see that now becomes the email as you would expect it to see. Here on the left-hand side, you can see we've got our inbox and our sent items, drafts deleted. We've also got junk mail. Things that go in the junk mail automatically will appear here, and this is the counter. You can see there's 4 items here. I could quite easily decide that what I wanted to do here, I might right-click on this mail and say, actually, this is not junk. And I want to either never block the sender or block the sender completely, and different options there. In this case, we'll say that it's not junk, and you'll see it will pop it back into the inbox. So we can say we can always trust mail from this source as well. We hit OK on that, and that's good to go. Now, it doesn't take effect on things that are already in junk. It's only new emails coming in, which is why this other NBC Miami one is still there, and we might want to click on that and do the same thing as well. But that will tell the system that we don't want them to be in junk anymore, and obviously they'll appear in the inbox. Now, when they do appear as junk, they appear like this, a very basic format of them. It's only when you pop them back in the inbox that they really become proper viewable content that you would expect. Well, we're going to take that NBC Miami as an example here, and we say, well, it is an email that we obviously want, but we don't want it in our inbox all the time. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go to the inbox here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say new folder. And I'm going to call this one NBC Miami, like that. And what I'm going to do is set up a rule. So anything that comes in from this particular sender, I want it to pop into here automatically. And we do that with the rules section here. So we select this one, we say rules, and we say we want to always move messages from NBC Miami. It'll ask us where we want to move them to. I can just open that and say enter here, hit OK, and away it goes. It will actually run that rule over the inbox for us. You can see now everything from that email address is coming into here. So it's a nice way of keeping them a bit separate. And now I don't have to have them sitting here. I can actually just right click here and say add to favorites, which will actually pop it up into my favorites option here. In this case, I'm going to take that one out. I'll just say remove from favorites. But you see, you can add any folder, no matter how deep it is, pop it up into your favorites bar here. So it gives you a nice, easy access to it. Just an additional thing on this view, just while I'm here, if we click on the view tab up here, you can see we can also put message preview. Now, if I turn that on, no matter how many lines I want, see what it's going to do. We can say just in this folder, perhaps, or all mailboxes. We'll say this folder for this one. You can see what it's doing is it changes that view a little bit, so we get to see a little bit more of the email in here without having to go into it. So I'll actually just go and turn that off for that one. But it's an interesting option. You might want to use that if you feel that way inclined. And then coming back to our home page here, we can go to rules and we can say manage rules and alerts. That'll give us the option to look after those rules, and then we can remove them, we can change them, do what we need to on there. So if you do have lots of rules, you can manage them appropriately in this section. Then looking inside the inbox as well with this view section, you can see you can view things as conversation. You can have them all as separate emails if you want to, but if you're getting lots of emails backwards and forwards from the same people, they appear as one conversation, which is very handy. And you've also got view settings here. Now, this is if you want to change the fonts or really how this is laid out in this particular view. One of the common ones we do here, we've got fonts and other settings here. You can go in and say, okay, I want to have the column font maybe be a little bit bigger, and the row font maybe slightly bigger, and you'll see what this does when I hit OK here. You can see that's just changed the view slightly. As I say, you can customize that as you feel you want to. So let's move on with composing email. There's a few things I want to show you around fonts and signatures. So first thing I will show you is fonts. So if we start a new email here, you can see that the standard font we're going to be using is that Calibri 11. We may decide that for all our mails that want to go out, we don't want to use that font. So I'll say no on here. What we do is we go to the File menu here and we go down to Options on the bottom left here. And there's plenty of options in here that you can change. In fact, there's a lot to explore about how you want to have Outlook looking. But the one I want to see here is Mail. And you can see here stationery and fonts. That's where the signatures is, by the way, just above it. But we go to fonts and we say, okay, here's our font that we're going to choose, which is the normal Calibri 11. In this case, what I'm going to choose, let's say we choose the great UI, like so, and we'll make that 10, just regular. And we might, we'll leave it for now, but you could do the same with the other fonts as well. But for this example, we'll just hit OK on that. And you can see straight away now when I start to do an email, it's Segway 10, which might be the font you prefer. But what I will do is just go back again. Let's go back to File and Options, because what we will do now is go into Mail and we'll go back to Signatures here. So when we start a new signature, you can see this is the email signature. It's based on the account that you've got it for, and you can have multiple signatures set up. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to say set a new one, and it'll ask for a name. So the name, just put our name in. It's obviously for the Buck Rogers account, so we'll just put Buck R there, and we'll put in a signature. So we might say regards, and we might put in a phone number. Phone number is there, like so. Now you can see what we're doing here is we'd also want to change the font. Let's say we want to change it, and we might say Segway UI. We might make that 12, just a bit bigger, and we might say that we're going to put his name in bold, just a bit of a nicer signature, but just do what you want to do on there. But you can see that when we save this, it's going to say what do we want to use as a default signature for new messages and replies. So you might have a different signature for when you start a new mail to when you do a reply. You may not want to put all the company information on a reply, but you might want to put that on the first email, and that's where you can choose the different ones here. In this case, I'm just going to choose the same one for both of them, but you can see here now it's bound that through, and we'll just hit OK and hit OK here. Now what it means is that when we start a new mail, you can see there's our signature on each one, and going in here there's our Segway UI 10 as well. So you can see it's very easy to create signatures and change the fonts and how things look. If you want to get creative and put colors in there, and you can even put little pictures in there as well, whatever you want to do, but it's up to you how you want your signature to look. Depends on obviously what your company might have as a standard as well. So if they've given you one, you can just cut and paste in and then edit. That's where you do it. You cut and paste into that other window and edit the signature from there. So another thing you can do in that other section here with File here, this one here, you might have seen this when we looked at it before, automatic replies, which is the out of office. Obviously a very important setting. If you go on vacation or you're out for a few days, you can set an automatic reply. So this means that you can say, yes, I want to send automatic replies, If you don't specify a date range, you're responsible then for going to turn it off, but you could say, I'm going to send one from Tuesday all the way through to Friday, and you put the times in there, and you could say, I am out, contact me later, something like that. Now, the difference is here you can set different replies for what is inside the organization and what is outside. You might decide that you want to have it no auto reply to people outside of the organization. You may not want it if someone sends you a random email from another company. You may not want to have an automatic reply saying, hey, I'm out of the office for the week. That's up to you how you want to do it. You can say that yes, auto reply, but only if the person is in my contact list. That's a good option to have as well. So we might you might have that there. Quite easy if you want to. You can just cut and paste and put them in there. Often we might have something inside the organization which says, hey, I'm out, but hey, maybe talk to this person and here's their phone number instead. You may not want that information going outside the organization, and that's why you'd obviously have two separate ones there. And you hit OK, and that will become effective from this time zone, obviously. If you set that in there, if you set it to be without a times range, it will be in effect immediately. And also remember that automatic reply is only ever sent once to a person during the range. So if somebody emails you with something, they'll get the automatic reply. If they email you the following day, they won't get that auto reply. It won't keep spamming them with auto replies from you. So I'm just going to turn that off for Buck. We don't need him to have automatic replies right now. We'll go back to our main screen here with the inbox again. So the next part of this is to show you about calendars. Obviously, there'll be plenty of interaction with your calendar. And if I go to the calendar on the left here, you can see it's pretty empty right now. So what we'll do is we'll set up a new meeting, and we can say here, add new meeting. And it will try and default to a Teams meeting. You can turn that off and say don't host online if you want to. But we might say in here that we're going to have a catch up with a colleague, in which case we then put in the details in the required, which could be with Bob here. And we'll put a time, and we might say, okay, I'm going to try and do that at 10 to 10:30. Now, what we can do as well is we could say there, hi Bob, talk soon, Buck, and we might want to make sure that Bob is available. We don't know, is Bob available at 10 o'clock on the Tuesday? Let's go find out. Now, to do that, what we do is we go to Scheduling Assistant up top here. Now, this is going to look at the free busy information for Bob. And it's going to say, well, is that something we can organize? Let's have a look at what Bob might have. And you can go left and right here. You can see if Bob is available or not. It will show up here, and you can see here it's pretty blank. So it is now he's not available, as you can see here by this grayed out time from the 8 o'clock, but he is available here, which is obviously good. Now, if I want to add more people in to the meeting, I can just keep adding them down here as required attendance or optionals. So I might put in here. Let's say we want Bernard there as well. You see that's going to look up his free busy as well. And we might say from here, we might have here. Now, this is interesting because this particular one is obviously me. It's an off tenant account, which is that CloudGeezer account. There is nothing set up between the Cozy Mouse tenant and the CloudGeezer tenant in terms of sharing free busy information. So basically, it doesn't know. Doesn't know whether I'm available or not, and you can see it just comes out with this little hash line on there. So I can still send it. I can still send that invite through, but obviously there is no way of telling if that person is going to be available or not. And then you've got other options here: add rooms, room finder. Let's see if there's any available. If it's going to be a room meeting, we can add attendees and go from there. So if we go back to our meeting, you can see there it is. We could also make it a recurring meeting. We can have a look at time zones as well, and really you can see there's plenty of options up the top as well. You can also add a scheduling poll to say, hey, when do you want to meet? Is there a preferred time that you want to meet? And that's what this nice scheduling poll here is good. But we just send that one. You see, once we do that, and obviously I've said it in the past, we'll say send. I might just make it say instead. Let's do that. Nice little warning there, which is kind of handy. So you can see there's our 10 o'clock. But what I want to look at here is the view section. So you can see here we're looking at the month. What we might want to do is look at the week instead. And you see this gives us a bit more of a better way of looking at the calendar. We can see here's our little view. and it puts all our meetings together. And once we obviously have more going on, then that will start to fill up, and we can start to plan things. We've also got work week if you only want to have Monday through Friday. And if you've got an incredibly busy day, you can actually just have a look at just the day as well. But most people would have just a week displayed like that normally. And if we jump back to inbox, there's a nice search button up the top here. So in here, I could type in, let's say we put in happy. That will show us all the emails that have the word happy in them. It's quite a good search function. You can see it's come through very quickly. If you've got a massive inbox, you can do that. What you can also do in terms of sorting on here is you can sort it by the from or the subject as well. So if I hit from here, it's going to look at all the emails with the word happy in them, all sorted by the sender too, which is obviously handy. And you can look at sort by received or even the subject line as well. Don't forget you need to clear that out to look back at your main view. And what it will do is it will also default to the last email that you clicked on in that search view. So that's why our email looks like we're right down the bottom here. So we'll just go and click back up the top. So that's easier to see the most recent ones. But you do have the other obvious things here. If you've got an email to reply to here, you can hit reply or reply all or forward. These buttons are obviously on here as well. So I can hit reply all, and you can see we can start typing inside here. Hi there. Or if we want to do a bit more with it, we could say pop it out, and it becomes a separate window on its own. Now you can pop that out and actually even just minimize that, come back here, have another one. We might grab this one and we might apply all there. We might say pop out as well. And you start getting emails that you can then type here and type here without just being in that single pane. It's make things a bit easier to move around with. Now you can see this one here. You'll notice that the signature is a little bit different. This is because this one has come in as a plain text email, and that's why it's showing up like this. So that's why there'd be a difference with those two, just by the way. But we can just close that and say no, save changes. Or we could just type hi there. We could say send, and then away it goes. Now, obviously, if we look at the sent items, there's our sent items, and there's our meeting invite. There's our testing there. So yeah, there's plenty to look at inside here. Do have fun exploring Outlook. That's the basics for you on how things work. But the main point is that it's a very easy layout to get used to once you get used to using it. And I'm sure you'll enjoy using Outlook for many years to come. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of these training videos. And we'll talk to you on the next one. Goodbye.